Hi,
Hi.
welcome. We are Emiliana
And Silviana Carter.
the founders of Feel and Grow Rich project and the authors of the upcoming book called Feel and Grow Rich.
It is a great honor to introduce you to
Raza Aziz.
business
Me.
author, yes, speaker, and online business mentor in Canada, an international business coach and speaker.
He is the author of his book Let's Be Real or Let's Not Play.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about your background for our audience? And welcome, Raza.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here. What can I say? Background is, I live here in Canada with my wife. We have been married for 17 years, and we have a daughter who is 12 years old now, and a little rabbit, our pet rabbit. After I graduated, I started in the corporate world here, and I worked in HR, in human resources for, 13 years, 14 years or so. And I remember when I first started working there, and then eventually I got married to my wife, I remembered we were just busy going back and forth to work. We were going to work, coming back, going back to work and coming back. And I said to people around me, it's like, what is this? I got married to my wife to spend some time with her, but I'm just going back and she's going back and forth to work. And I'm like, how do people go on vacations and how do they spend time? 2 weeks of vacation is not enough for me every year. I wanted more. So I started asking questions to everybody around me. So one of my friends, he said, Raza, I have this book and it might be able to help you. I'm not, I don't know, I haven't read it, but you look like the kind of guy who should read this book. So I read that book, and I tell you, it was a book that blew my mind, and I never really looked back from there and decided to venture into an area that was never taught to me, in school or in by my parents or anything like that. And that journey has been full of challenges, struggles, and ultimately here we are. It took me to Romania as well, and got to meet you guys as well. So it's been an amazing journey of all ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. And along the way, met some great people, great mentors who have taught me great things as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome.
Awesome. What inspired you to write the book?
What inspired me to write the book? I think, a lot of people, my book, Let's Be Real or Let's Not Play, is really about, because I feel like too many people are, I call it dibbling, dabbling. What that simply means is they're like, yeah, it would be good to kind of do something out of the ordinary. It would be good to make some money. It would be good to do that, but they're not really serious. And yet their lives at home are falling apart, and there's tons of anxiety, but they're not pushing themselves. And that's what the book is really all about. It's really about, being real with yourself and looking at what works. There are lots of fancy things that you can do, but it's not about being fancy. It's just about looking at what works and helping people in a straightforward way get to what really works and how to really become an entrepreneur. That's what the book is all about.
Wonderful. What can you tell me about your book?
Well, the book is my conversations with my clients. I find myself when I did do one-on-one coaching or did some speaking engagements, there were certain things that I was repeating over and over again. And that's what the book is really all about. It's really, when you read it, is just me talking. And talking about, there are 10 concepts in there, and each of those concepts really relate to entrepreneurs, especially in this day and age, leveraging technology and social media and mentors. A lot of people are too busy trying to figure things out. You know, over the past 10 years, the kind of things that I've been able to accomplish, I have not accomplished because I figured it out. I didn't. I found people, mentors, who have the path, and I just followed that path. And in the process, it helped me become more. I did more, and I accomplished a lot of things that a lot of people have not been able to accomplish. And that's what really the book is all about. It's really a small book, and but straight to the point, because hey, let's be real.
Excellent.
Wow. What are your top 3 priorities in life?
Top 3 priorities. Time with family is number 1 on my list. You know, a lot of us are too busy working, and it seems like we spend more time working than we spend with the things that we actually care about. And for me, my priority in life is not to work. My priority is to spend time. But yet we all live in this world, and things cost money, whether living in the house, whether it's the electricity, whether it's the vacation, so we all need more resources. So for me, whenever I look at how my work supports my lifestyle, that's what I look for. And I want to be efficient with my time. Instead of spending 8 hours trying to make money, I want to spend 4. I want to spend 2, right? And make the same amount of money. And I think a lot of people don't focus on that part. They're just like, oh, I want to do this. And then they spend 8-10 hours doing that. And then they have 3 or 4 hours with their family. I want to do 3 or 4 hours with my work and spend 8 to 10 hours with my family. So that's number 1. Number 2, I want to live as young as possible for as long as possible, right? And that really comes into being healthy and fit. It was something that I, really got introduced. The idea came to me, back when I turned 41 years old. I'm 46 now. 46. And really the whole idea is that I want to be around, actively as long as I can. Right? Like I want to stay young as long as I can and for as long as possible. Hey, if I can hit like 100 years old, 120 years old and be active and be a contribution to the world, to my daughter, to her kids and all of that stuff, that's my game. And for me, when I keep that in mind, my decisions today align with that goal. And so, eating well, staying well, staying fit, working out, all of those things come in handy. So that's number 2. And number 3 is, I want to leave a mark in the world. I want to be a contribution to a group of people who can simply say that, because Raza showed up, my life is different. So that's those are the 3 things that I strive for.
Amazing.
Great. What are the habits that lead to your success?
Habits that lead to success. I think people know this already, but I think we kind of shy away from it. Number 1 is whenever we are going to do something new, we need to develop 3 things. Number 1, routines. Number 2, disciplines. Number 3, skills. So a lot of times it requires, so being in the habit of actually learning that, know that whenever you do something new, and by the way, in the world that we live in right now, I'm pointing that way because my window is that way. In the world that we live in right now, things change quickly. And I think learning and building a habit to adapt with the change is really key. And change simply means that you are going to be doing things you haven't done before. So always going in with the mindset that you have to learn new routines, new disciplines, and new skill set. And success comes after that. So it's a byproduct of those two: routines, disciplines, and skill set. So the number one habit that I would say that I've learned from my mentors is always be adaptable, adapt to change, learn to reinvent yourself all the time, because the world is not waiting. It is moving extremely fast. And for us to build this habit of change and adapting to change all the time is really key. That's number one. Number two, I think it's a skill to have a good attitude. I think it's a skill because and it is something that we can train ourselves in, right? It's not something that just we're born with it. No, it is a choice to have a great attitude, to have an optimistic look onto life, to look forward to great things. And it's an attitude. So having a great attitude and learning how to have a great attitude is really key habit. And number three, to me, I would say be a student all the time. Always be a student. You know, I always have books around me. There's books you see in that corner over there. There's books behind me. There's books like in front of me, right? So I am surrounded with books because I'm always a student. Yes, I lead. Yes, I, mentor and all of that stuff. But if a mentor doesn't have a mentor, then you're not truly a mentor, right? If a coach does not have a coach, you're not truly a coach, right? You don't believe in what you are doing if you yourself are not exercising those things. So to me, it's really all about being a student and always being humble to learn and know that you don't know everything, right? So yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
Do you know that we tend to become those who we admire? Who do you admire the most?
Who do I admire the most? Well, a lot of people have had influence on my life. But I think the biggest person in my life that I admire is my mother, is my mom. I think she serves as a real solid inspiration in the background of me, who I am today. My mom is, she's a very resilient woman. And she displays the two things that I always preach, and that is courage and boldness. And this lady of my mom is a fine example of that. She had always been a housewife. And then when my mom and dad divorced, back when I was 21 years old, she single-handedly did things that she had never done before. She got out there to get a job. We were in a new country and, at that time, and she learned to go take transit and go on transit on buses to work. In deep snow, she would go there regardless of whether her back was hurting. She wasn't in the fittest of health at that time, but she did that in the name of us kids, me and my siblings. And to me, I always remember that. And to me, that's always an inspiration. She's living a good life. She's got good friends around her who care about her, and I always thank her for the things that she's taught me And the things that she didn't really teach me specifically, but in just who she was, she taught me being a better man. And to me, you know, I respect women. Women are much more stronger than men. And we just, you know, I just pray that us men get our act together and rise to the occasion as well.
Excellent. What keeps you awake at night, Raza?
I was gonna say I sleep very well, but if there was something that was in my mind, you know, that you could say keeps me awake at night is really the thought of whether I have done enough for my daughter. And you know, as a dad, as a, you know, as a father, like, to me, I want to give her the best life possible. And whether that is, you know, in material, like giving her a head start, you know, financially, or it is just my teachings and wisdom to her. I want her to, I don't want to make my daughter anything. I don't want to make her anything, but I want to give her an environment for inspiration so that she can be whatever she wants to be, and in the best way possible that she can be that. Would I like her to work with me eventually? Yeah, of course. But if she doesn't, it's okay. I want her to shine in her own way. And to me, I always think about that. Am I doing enough? Am I saying the right things? Am I providing the right environment for her? And that's what I would say. That's what keeps me up at night.
Amazing.
Raza, what advice would you give to someone starting out?
Starting out as an entrepreneur?
Yes.
Yes.
I would say you want to learn to fail fast so that you can succeed faster. A lot of people are scared of failing. You know, they think that failing and success are two different things, but yet failing and success are actually the same thing. It's just a different side of things. You know, a coin has two sides.
Wow.
You can't say, I just don't want one side. No, it's just together, right?
Yes.
You know, it's really, you know, you can't have a car and run it without gas or electricity, right? It's like, there's always a two side to this thing, and failure and success is the same thing. The faster you move through failure, the faster you're going to end up at succeeding. You know, a lot of times, sometimes people, some of my mentees, some of the people that follow me online, they say, Raza, oh my gosh, you're like, whatever you jump into, you're like succeed at it. I'm like, no, I only succeed at 2 or 3 things. That's it. The rest of them are failures. Like, no, but we haven't seen you fail. Yeah, because I moved through failure so fast that they don't have time to take over me. Sometimes people, when they fail, they make it mean something about themselves. And that's where the disconnected. And I'll tell you where that comes from. Failing is bad, comes from school and comes from us upbringing, our parents and all of that stuff, because failing was bad. If you don't succeed at something, you're a failure. But yet in the real world, I don't know of anyone who has never failed. Do you?
No.
Right? I don't know of anybody who's successful. You take Steve Jobs, you take Bill Gates, you take my mentors, like, I don't care who it is, but I don't know of anybody who has succeeded in life without failing. So if failing is part of the recipe, then let's just learn to go through it quickly. That, you know, you will have more failures than you will have successes. And if I look back at my life over the past 20 or so years, I have failed at more things than I have succeeded in, right? And that's really the key, because those failures build you to become the person that you need to become to be successful. You know, people always pray and they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could be successful, or you know, they pray to God or whoever, or universe, like, you know, they ask for things. It's like, I want this in life. I want to make $10,000, $50,000 per month. I want to have a beautiful life. I want to have a good wife or a husband or whatever. I want to have kids who thrive and all of that stuff. But as soon as they pray for that, the next thing that happens in their life, something boom, blows up in their life. Consider that it is an answer to your prayers. Consider that it is the thing that you attracted in your life for you to become the person who deserves and who not deserves, who is worthy of having the lifestyle that you want, right? Who gets to that level, that performs the tasks in certain ways that life shows up with you with the results that you want. So those setbacks and challenges and failures are simply learning lessons. Like, we have to learn. It's a skill. It's another skill that we just need to learn to, like, oh, setback. It's like, oh, nobody likes failures. I don't like failure. So I take my time. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give myself one day to be sad, to cry, to just go in the room and just go under my sheets. I don't want to do anything. But then once that day is over, then I get up and I'm like, all right, let's go again, right? Learn from those lessons and then go again. And that's what really life is all about.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah.